I mean, it's possible, and I have everyone typically with high enough HP values to where that if they do double turn, no one's gonna die. Except when I'm fighting Melbu, I kind of use casual, like Final Fantasy VII runners use Tifa in no slots. I try to keep Hashel in like the yellow and or red as long as I can when I'm fighting Melbu, because his Destroyer Mace, or whatever the hell it's called, increases his damage the like lower his HP is, so that when he's in the red, he literally will deal almost 400 more damage to Melbu than if he's in like the normal hit range. And other runners know of that, but they don't YOLO it as much as I do. Like, I just buy, instead of buying more healing fogs, I buy Angel's Prayers instead. Because it's like, you're gonna use that turn anyway to heal that person individually. You might as well just, if it's casual, you might as well just let him beat the piss out of Melbu until he dies and then resurrect him. Yeah, Linus can quad turn, it's possible. She's a pain in the butt. But it's hard for these bosses to take so many turns, especially with the Bandit's Ring and the Bandit Shoes equipped, plus the Dancer Shoes. And when I speed up Maru, it's really hard for them to get in double turns, especially at the beginning of boss fights. If they even live that long to really do much after the fact. Like, for example, Divine Dragon doesn't live long enough to really do anything that's super scary. What else? SKV, same thing with with the Executioners. They don't live long enough to really do much because of that setup. Yeah. Same thing with the third Burridge fight. They don't do... They don't get a chance to do a whole lot. So leading up to Grand Jewel, there isn't a whole lot we need to do. We just need to grab the Dancer's Shoes and the power-up in the Forbidden Land. The Grand Jewel fight in itself isn't very complicated. It's just pretty much straight up just to speed up power-up Maru and then beat the piss out of the guy. He does level down your party, and that's a guaranteed double turn technically. He'll level them down and then he'll take a turn and do a magic attack. Alright, let's see. Okay, The first reason is because Maru is just tankier than they are. Her magic attack, I believe, is the highest, but Maru's speed is higher than theirs. Secondly, Maru actually does like damage, like physical damage. You can attack with Maru and deal pretty decent damage to things. Whereas their auto attack is 120 billion% useless. The animation is pretty much just as long as Maru's addition, and they don't even come close to the same amount of damage. Thirdly, Maru's Dragoon form is very relevant. Her freezing ring helps kill Zeke super fast. My Zeke fight is way faster than anyone else's Zeke fight I've seen that I've actually looked at, because I use freezing ring on Zeke. I power her up, I throw the Psych Bomb, and then I do 2 freezing ring attacks and he's pretty much dead. Fourth, her level 2 Dragoon is an AoE heal for 50% of their HP, for the party's HP, which is essentially a healing breeze. But she also heals all status effects with that as well. Shanna Miranda, their Dragoon level isn't going to level up very fast at all, because the biggest contributing factor to that leveling up is how much SP they gain. Since they only do 1 attack in 1 shot, their SP gain is garbage. So leveling up their Dragoon level is nearly impossible. And it's going to take way more time than what it's worth. However, since you'll be auto-attacking periodically with Maru, you'll get her level 2, and I actually get her level 3 Dragoon by the end of the game. With that said, there are some enemies, such as Imago and Melbu are the 2 that really stick out to me on Disc 4. Because you get her level 2 Dragoon right before the Imago fight. He can do multiple different status effects to people, and instead of wasting your turn by using additions, because the Imago fight is basically the fight where I grind Dart and Hashel's Crush Dance and Hex Hammer up the final level I need them to be for the Melbu fight. It saves me having to change into my Dragoon form to negate that status effect, because I don't want to carry a Mind or Body Purifier in my inventory, because it's just a wasted space, because I know I'll be getting Maru's Dragoon magic. Mainly, if somebody gets confused, well, pretty much if it's any of the status effects land from Imago, not all of them will land, because each character has their own like immunities to it based on their equipment. But if by chance he does one that actually does stick to somebody, I want it removed, because 1, it's going to waste time, and 2, it's going to be dealing damage to them over time. And with my strats, I don't have very many healing items at that point, because I stock up on translates instead. So I have more translates for Melbu. So Maru is more active in that fight. So yeah, that's basically why I use Maru instead. I mean, it's pretty much just her overall usefulness compared to them, compared to Shanna Miranda. And not only that, she's very, very, very weak. Like, Carnage64 was running this game before, and he used the strat of having Miranda and Maru for a while. And his, like, if he got bad turn orders, etc., like, he was in a lot of trouble. I just need to buy the match board right here. He was in a lot of trouble because they could just die. You know, magic attacks don't do a whole lot of damage to her, but if somebody physically attacks her, she pretty much gets one-shotted. So yeah, hopefully that like makes sense, I guess. And not only that, too, since we have Maru's AoE heal and recovery, well, I also forgot to mention that Melbu, in his first form, he can stone somebody, or petrify them, which is a problem, a big, big problem. And then his third form he can command block somebody as well, which is a big, big problem too. It's not so much a problem if he command blocks Maru, but if he command blocks Nashel or Dart, that's a big problem. And her Dragoon magic will remove that status effect. Not only that, since it's an AoE heal, it also means that I don't have to have that many healing pieces. I can actually use more, grab more Angel's Prayers and Translights instead of having the extra healing breezes. Because I can use her AoE heal 3 times because she'll have 60 MP because she'll be level 3 Dragoon. And even if she's only level 2 Dragoon, that's still 2 healing breezes essentially that she ends up being. Which is very helpful. And basically having 2 magic users I don't think is very viable either, because you having 2 magic users, you basically have to have more attack items. You'll have more attack items, and you'll have to have more healing items, and you're basically making Dart into the healer, and he's not doing anything outside of healing, because typically the magic users have either, you know, above average magic defense or really high. If they have above average magic defense, they're still going to be taking pretty good damage for magic attacks. Not to mention if the magic attack that's used against them is their weakness. Regardless if it's their, if it's their weakness, even if their magic attack or their magic defense is high, they're still going to take a ton of damage. And then, God help you if something decides to physically attack you. So yeah, you're pretty much pigeonholing Dart, who isn't that fast of a character, into being the healer. Because if you're going to be having 2 magic users, you probably want them throwing magic attack items in like all the time, just non-stop throwing it and just like blowing the boss up as fast as possible. That's what's so beneficial while having Nashel, because he's fast. He's above average fast in this game. All of his attack animations are really fast too. His additions are fast. Everything with Nashel is really quick. He does really solid damage, and he doesn't take a whole lot of damage either. He's like an above average character pretty much overall. He's just like a better version of Dart, essentially, in my opinion. And he doesn't have a weakness. Like, his element is thunder, and there's no weakness to that. So that's helpful too. It makes things much, 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 much safer than the fact that you have a character that's fast, who's tanky, and hits like a truck, especially towards the end of the game. So when you need to heal, you have a character who can heal for you, and you're not missing out on a ton of DPS because you'll have Dart attack and you'll have your magic user throwing items. And if you have the chance, you can add even more DPS by having an attack. And you see that utility in like the Dole fight in Disc 1, because Dole does a lot of thunder, lightning